What is going on, guys? This is the Inside the Blue Podcast, and today we have another mock draft, of course, featuring the New York Giants. Senior Bowl is out of the way, so we got to look at some of these big-time prospects: Byron Murphy, T'Vondre Sweat, Wilson from Michigan, that wide receiver, a little bit of Michael Penix, a little bit of Bo Nix, some offensive linemen. A lot of good looks. I personally wasn't there, but I checked Twitter. A lot of good things. I'll say it again. This is the biggest draft in recent history for the New York Giants. They have messed up multiple drafts before. I feel pretty decent about last year's draft. This team just needs to get good at drafting. And when they can do that, that will help them in the long run. Because this is a drafting league. The NFL is a drafting league. If you don't draft well, then you're not going to be good. And, the Giants have had countless years that they have not been over 500 and they've missed the playoffs. And now, the big question is, why do they suck so much? It's because they haven't drafted well. They've took the wrong guys and not at the right time either. Not the position of need. You could say what you want about the Saquon Barkley pick and all these other draft picks in recent histories that kind of have backfired because, this offensive line has struggled for numerous amount of years. And it's been a problem, right? This offensive line needs to get better so this offense can be functional. And that's the big thing. The offense needs to be better next year. Defense as well, but mainly the offense. Because the defense, kept the Giants in some games, but the Giants' offense could not function, right? Daniel Jones goes down, Tommy DeVito is in, he gets hurt, Tyrod Taylor gets hurt, like all these QBs getting hurt. But of course, nothing has changed in terms of draft order, no trades or anything. Bears, of course, selecting number 1. And also, I believe the draft board kind of changed. A few of my buddies were telling me that it has changed, so let's get right into it. Of course, Giants picking at number 6. If you guys are new to these, we only draft for the New York Giants for now. Possibly I might do a full first-round mock where I pick for every single team. But we're doing the Giants today. Of course, there are 4 picks, 2 in the second round, 1 in the first, and 1 in the third. But let's get this underway as we start the draft. And here we go. So we got some options here. As you can see, a lot of some interesting picks. Drake May goes number 1, so that's definitely a new selection. I feel like every draft that had Caleb Williams going number 1, but now PFF and the computers shift to Drake May from North Carolina. I think he's the second best quarterback in this class. He's really good. Drake May is very good. But he's got a good arm. He's got a lot of good traits to him, as well as Caleb Williams. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes number 3. So I feel like pick 3 is where the draft really starts. I think number 1 and number 2 can go either way, where either it's Drake May going number 1 or Caleb Williams, and vice versa. So the draft really starts at pick 3, which is Marvin Harrison Jr. They do not go Jaden Daniels. And then Malik Neighbors goes. And Cooper DeJean, cornerback, goes to the Chargers. So they don't go Brock Bowers. They don't go Joe Alt. And they don't take a wide receiver either. So for the New York Giants, they have some options, right? This team has options. As we look, they can go for Joe Alt. They can take all these type of guys, in my book. They can go Joe Alt. I think that might be the pick here, and I think that's probably the best pick. I think Brock Bowers is an elite player, but I just don't see this team drafting a tight end. I really don't. He is a stud. Rome Odunze is a very good wide receiver. They could take him at 6. Rashanu's good, but I think Joe Alt is better. I think those two are 1A and 1B. Johnny Newton, I don't expect him to go D-line first pick. And then there's Jaden Daniels. Do the Giants reset at QB and they take Jaden Daniels. I think if this is how the draft goes in real life, it's a tough decision because I feel like John Mara, the owner of the New York Giants, likes Daniel Jones a lot. I think he likes his toughness, how he plays, and what he brings to the New York Giants, right? I think he's a leader, all those good traits. So this team could stick with Daniel Jones. But I feel like in the room with Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, they feel that they can elevate this offense if they start new at QB, and that's why Jaden Daniels is a guy that they can definitely go. Now, if this was real life, teams should probably call the New York Giants, like the Vikings, like the Raiders, the Broncos, all those type of teams. The Atlanta Falcons trying to move from 8 to 6 for Jaden Daniels. Now, we're not doing any trades, of course, because we are not subscribed to PFF currently. That might change in the future, but I really do think it's either quarterback or tackle here. I don't think they're going to take Odunze. I think he drops. They're definitely not taking Brock Bowers, and I don't think they go Fashanu. So I really think it's Joe Alt or Jaden Daniels here. And I think with this offense and this offensive line, it isn't good enough. But I also think if you don't take Jaden Daniels here, and the QB class in 2025 isn't nearly as talented as this, then you're probably going to have to stick with Daniel Jones for the next 4 years, in my opinion. So that's why we're going to take Jaden Daniels. I think they should move on from Daniel Jones. I said it, yes. As much as I love the kid, and now I didn't agree with them. I did not agree with them to take Daniel Jones at 6. I did not agree with it at all. A lot of big names here now. Troy Vitano's a solid prospect. Now, in my opinion, I don't believe he will go to the second round. I think some sort of team is going to pick him in the first round. It's also probably a sneak peek for when I do my first round mock for the entire league. I have him going in the first round for me. I'm not going to mention what team, but Troy Vitano is a very good player. We look at the numbers. I think he's a very good tackle. You can move him at guard. Giants need that because they're not going to move. They're not going to have Justin Pugh or Mark Galinsky take big reps. They might re-sign Justin Pugh for depth. I could see them doing that, but I don't think those guys are going to be starters. I think Galinsky gets cut, to be honest, because he did not serve a very good role for this team. He wasn't good. So I do believe it comes down to Chris Jenkins and Troy Vitano. I think Chris Jenkins is very good, and that entire Michigan defensive line was outstanding. You saw it against Bama, you saw it against Washington. Those guys can get to the QB. But I think in terms of value here, I think that if Vitano is there, they're going to take Troy Vitano. I do believe that. But don't rule out them taking Chris Jenkins if they are in that exact spot. All right, so now we see a bunch of tackles here. Of course, we took Jaden Daniels first, and then we took an offensive lineman. So we have to go defense here. That is just like a guarantee. I'd be shocked if they took another offensive player because this defense does need work. I think we do know that. Now, there's a guy like, Mekhi Window, but I don't believe he had the best Senior Bowl. I think you can go a guy like Brendan Dorless on the defensive line. And because, him and Dexter Lawrence would be an outstanding duo. I really do believe. We already know Dexter Lawrence is undoubtedly a top three defensive lineman in the entire NFL. I truly do believe that. I think, when you look at him this year against the other defensive linemen, I think he was the best defensive tackle in the league. I do believe that. He is a Pro Bowler this year, but I don't really take the Pro Bowl into, big consideration, really. I don't believe that. But good for him to get into the Pro Bowl. But we're going to take Brandon Dorlus out of Oregon. I know there's definitely some guys that you could definitely take. You could take, a guy like Graham. You could take a guy like Patrick Paul, who had a good camp, Senior Bowl. You could take Jermaine Burton if you want, but we're going to go on the defensive side here and take the defensive lineman out of Oregon. Got one pick remaining. Of course, we're going to look at the first round right now, analyze that, and then we will do our pick. So we head to the first round, which we did not really, oopsies, miscue with my mouse. All right, first round. There we go. So, of course, Rome Odunze goes right after who we select. Brock Bowers heads to Atlanta. I don't really agree with that, to be honest, because I don't think they need a tight end. They have Jonnu Smith. They have Kyle Pitts. I think in that situation, you can go offensive line. I mean, not offensive line. You can go defense there, I think. There's a lot of good edge rushers and all that. So, we took Jaden Daniels at 6. I want to see where these other QBs go. Does Bo Nix go? I think Bo Nix is a good QB, but I don't know if he's a first-round talent. But he goes to the Los Angeles Rams. I almost just said St. Louis Rams. So he goes to the Rams. Some of these picks that I do really like. I do like Teron Arnold heading to the Colts. I do like the Raiders taking a tackle because I don't think they'll take a QB, and I honestly do think if they do take a QB, I feel like they are the type of team to reach on a guy like J.J. McCarthy, a guy like Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, one of those QBs in my opinion. But Bo Nix is a first-round QB in this draft. Steelers go Kool-Aid McKinstry, so that would be a lethal duo with Joey Porter Jr. and Kool-Aid McKinstry. J.C. Latham going to the Bengals, very solid pick. Scroll down a bit, we see Jackson Powers Johnson going to the Dolphins. Also for Shonda going to the Broncos. Excuse me. Troy Franklin going to the the Philadelphia Eagles. Brian Thomas Jr. going to the Green Bay Packers. Marius Mims going to Texans, and the Cowboys taking another cornerback. Interesting. I'm surprised they didn't go Byron Murphy, though, to be totally honest with you. That probably would be the pick if they had to. Quinton Mitchell going to the Cardinals from the Houston Texans original pick. Tyler Gooten going to the Bills. I guess there wasn't a wide receiver on the board that they liked. I think the Bills in real life should go wide receiver. I don't know how I feel about Stephon Diggs going forward. I think he's aging. He's not the same player in my opinion. Just don't think. I just really don't think he, is the same player in Buffalo, and I think you got to give Josh Allen another weapon. I don't think Gabe Davis is the answer either. He's also going to want to, he's going to command a lot of money, Gabe Davis. But let's head to the second round now. Panthers selecting first. They go Devontae Walker, Michael Penix Jr. heading to the Patriots. So they pair him up with Marvin Harrison Jr. That would be a fun duo. Keon Coleman going to the Cardinals. I keep blanking out. Of course, Commanders go Lade McConkey and the tackle from Yale. All right. And J.J. McCarthy ends up going to the Las Vegas Raiders. So, interesting draft. Of course, we are on the clock now. We have some options here. They could go wide receiver. They could definitely go a wide receiver if they wanted to. I feel like this draft in particular has been a lot different because the board is obviously updated. I've been looking at Jalen Wright out of Tennessee. Really solid numbers. 91 PFF grade. He played in 12 games, had 1,000 yards. So, I mean, this guy was a dog. Yards per attempt was 7.4. He only had 4 touchdowns, which seems a bit low for that attempts. But I guess I haven't really watched enough of the Tennessee Volunteers. But let me do some calculations here. So, take out the calculator. 12 games. So he was averaging 84 yards per game. I believe that's the math. Not bad. Not bad. Jalen Wright, I think the Giants should move on from Saquon Barkley, even though he's been the franchise. Saquon Barkley has been with the New York Giants for a while. And, he has had some injury history. They gave him an offer. Everyone has to realize this. They gave him an offer that would pay him $14 million a year. And he declined it. Giants aren't going to go over that $14 million number, and I don't blame them at all. I don't blame them at all because they shouldn't go over. They should not go over that number at all. And if they do, that's a huge L on their part. Even though I love Saquon Barkley, I have his jersey, I have all that nice stuff. They should not give him. I'd give him 12. I would give him 12 over 3 years, and that's the most I would go. Maybe 13, and that's the limit. And I know it's like, but it's $1 million more. Yeah, $1 million more that we can upgrade on a different position. Because this team has holes, and running back is the easiest fix ever, right? I mean, look at the Dolphins. They drafted what's his name? Devon Achane. He's a stud already. Thinking about teams that drafted a running back, like recently. Oh, I'm blanking out. What other team? What other teams? I guess you could say, what's his name? Pacheco was recently drafted. He's really good, and bunch of studs that just come out of the draft, and there's a lot of good ones as well here. But my pick is going to be the guard out of Connecticut. This guy has been amazing at the Senior Bowl. He's a guard. Giants love him. I love him. I don't think they're going to go running back in the 3rd round. Going to take Christian Haynes out of Connecticut. I know I have said some stuff about Christian Haynes. I don't know how good he is. I saw it all in that Senior Bowl. He looked outstanding. Hands look really good. Everything looks really good. So here's the draft. I thought we did a pretty good job. I think we did a very good job. Jaden Daniels going to 6. I think they got to move on from Daniel Jones, right? I think for the quarterback position, it's the most important position on the field. Get rid of that. Draft Jaden Daniels. Build around him. Boom. Now, I didn't take a wide receiver here, and I know you guys are questioning, where is he going to throw it to? They'll find Jalen Hyatt's a damn good wide receiver. I'll tell you that right now. Wando's, playing good. Darius Slayton's good. That's your 1, 2, 3. And maybe you get another guy in free agency. I don't know. Going to Troy Vitanu. This team needs offensive line regardless. We drafted 2 guys in the first 3 rounds, and I think these 2 guys are really good. I think Troy Vitanu is really good. You could plug in Christian Haynes at guard. There you go. I don't know what the future is with Evan Neal either. I don't know if they're going to move him to guard. I think they're going to keep him at tackle. We got to hope this offensive line coach fixes him, because if not, he's gone. I will tell you that right now. If Evan Neal doesn't show significant improvement in this year's draft, not this year's draft, in this upcoming season, fast forward to next season, Evan Neal struggles. He's probably gone, and I don't know if he's going to get another NFL job, to be honest. And if he does, It's probably gonna be a backup lineman because I don't see this guy starting again because he has not shown enough on film and in his games that he is a worthy right tackle starter. But we hope he improves. I hope he improves after the comments he made about us Giants fans that were just a bunch of hamburger flippers. Hopefully the guy does improve because I am still rooting for him. I do hope he has some, a better year. I did lose a little bit of respect after him saying that to the fan base because, trust me, you talk about New York fans, they will get on you like a snap of a finger. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this mock draft. Of course, just to recap the first round, here it is. Really some things that shock me. I'm a little surprised the Patriots didn't go QB. I think the J.C. Latham pick for the Bengals is good. Bo Nix goes into the first round. Lions go tackle, even though they have a stacked offensive line. Dallas Turner falls to 14. I think he's going to go higher than that. Joe Alt falls to 9. Fashanu goes to 12. So the Broncos do not select a QB. Cooper DeJean goes in the top 5. Latu falls to the number 16 pick. Teron Arnold, I think, was a very good selection for the Colts at 15. Brian Thomas Jr. heading to Green Bay. Troy Franklin going to the Eagles. If I didn't mention JPJ going to the Dolphins. Quinton Mitchell going to the Cardinals. And that's going to do it for this episode. Of course, also, Drake May, number 1 overall pick. Maybe that happens in real life. Maybe it doesn't. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the mock draft. I truly do appreciate everybody for everything on these mock drafts. I feel like they do the best out of anything I post on this channel. Definitely going to keep posting them. Might do a Super Bowl prediction, like a 5-minute-ish video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below on what you thought about this draft. Did I make a wrong decision? Did you like the draft? But that's going to do it for this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.